Hello there, friends, and welcome to episode 29 of That One Gaming Podcast. I'm Colin, otherwise known as Delicious Morsels, and here today we've got Lucas, aka Carnevil9. How are you today, Lucas?
I'm doing good.
Very good. And we've also got Neal, better known as VMK89. How is Neal today?
I'm doing well. How is Colin doing?
Tired. But that's beside the point. If you are new to this podcast, welcome. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, Google, or one of many other podcasting platforms out there where the three of us get together every other week to talk about a variety of topics in the world of gaming. And also, we have a Discord channel that you can join, and the link is down below. So if you want to come hang out and be part of this community, you get to chat with us, you get to participate in future episodes. Free to join. Link in the description to our Discord. Hope to see you there. Anyway, be it a gun, a sword, a gun that's also a sword, a common twig, or a wooden baseball bat with a giant nail sticking out of it, if there's any form of combat in a video game, then odds are you're probably using some form of weapon to fight. And that's what this episode's all about. Though it was no small feat to do so, we've each narrowed down a few of our favorite weapons from all across the video games that we've played to share here today. But before we get into that, at the front of the episode, we do like to talk about just what we've been playing over the last couple of weeks. So, Lucas, what have you been playing?
Well, kind of to remind myself of how much I love a specific weapon in the game, I've been dipping back into Unreal Tournament and Unreal Gold. It's like the OGs of the Unreal Engine. Killed off by Fortnite, rest in peace.
RIP.
Yeah. And then, maybe kind of gaming adjacent, but I've sort of gotten back into cubing.
Nice.
Yeah. Over the weekend, we made a car trip across the state for my cousin's graduation open house, and I was attempting to memorize square one algorithms, all the way to and from.
Before time began, there was the cube.
Slightly after the cube, there was the Pyraminx, and then the Megaminx, and then so many other puzzles. Square one, it's a bad time. They're very cursed objects to look at.
Nice.
I also learned recently that Sheng Shou makes a Zetaminx, which is 13 by 13 equivalent Megaminx type puzzle.
Ooh.
Yeah. It is a very intimidatingly complex seeming puzzle because, 13 layers, but it's on a dodecahedral shaped puzzle rather than a cubic puzzle. If the world record WCA averages for 3x3 and Megaminx are about 6 times as long as each other, then I imagine if you were to scale that up, assuming that a 13x13 Megaminx type puzzle versus a 13x13 type cube is still 6 times as complex, then my estimate would be about 6 hours for a Zetaminx solve for someone who is a world record speed cuber.
Wow.
And I am not one of those.
Yeah, I still can't solve the basic Rubik's Cube. So
Same here.
I taught my wife when we first started dating.
Still a bit too large IQ for me. Brain does not process the funny colors.
Yeah. I also briefly dipped into Rosencruz Stilette, if only just to verify that it was running better, since Debian recently had a new version. So we're now on Debian 12 Bookworm, named after Bookworm from the Toy Story franchise, as Debian distros are named. It did fix the graphical issues that I was experiencing on Debian,
Nice.
which was just some weird black box artifacting around a couple of sprites. No big deal, really. I also verified that The Sims 4 would work, because my wife might be interested in shifting to Linux as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's a keeper. I say 8 years into our marriage. Yeah. I also played this little indie game called Station to Station, which the demo has been out for like a couple months now, I think, but Colin introduced me to it through the IGN trailer the day that dropped, and I patiently waited, and they released a demo for it, and the game is fantastic. Go play it.
Brains.
It's trains. It's like a topological map or puzzle game. So like they give you a handful of buildings that you need to run a railway network to. So you gotta use like a spline-based track building type thing to map out each station for each building, and it's a very high-level explanation. It gets kind of complicated kind of quickly, but it's still very simple, very easy to get into gameplay. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Nice. Neal, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing a lot, actually, because part of the time that we've gone since the last episode, I didn't have my laptop. It
Partially my fault.
kind of. Mostly the battery was expanding.
Yeah.
Which isn't good to use.
Yeah. We discovered that while I was accidentally breaking it. I mean, attempting to fix it.
But we did fix it, and I got it back. But there was a period in there where I didn't have my laptop, and so I was playing a lot of Switch games. I was very fortunate to have my mom's iPad. It was my iPad that I gave to my mom, and she gave it to me back very recently. So that's how I stayed connected to the internet. But I also ended up playing a ton of Switch games. I bought Sonic Forces. It was on sale. I probably wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't on sale. It's fine.
It is a perfectly all right, does its job Sonic game.
Yes. Yeah.
It comes and goes, and then you can move on with your life after 4 hours.
Yep, pretty much.
Oh, is it really that short?
Yes, it's literally that
and
short.
The levels are very short too. It's weird. You'll be like, all right, this level is just ramping up to the climax, and it's like, nope, here's the end of the level.
If it were any shorter, it could be Colin.
Jeez, rude.
Heh.
Ha.
Heh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ha.
I will hand it to the game though. Infinite's theme music is pretty freaking good.
Yeah. Jeez.
At least I went hard in one in one regard with the game.
Yeah. Fist Bump is okay, but specifically the instrumental version of the song without the lyrics is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got some okay music otherwise. I am actually enjoying the avatar bit, just messing around, giving my character weird clothes. It is weird that some of the choices you can make affect your gameplay, which makes you not want to just pick your favorite animal and instead go for the one with the best ability. So I think that's kind of a hindrance, honestly.
I was a cat.
You were a cat. I'm a bird.
I was a cat.
Are you big?
No. And the thing I didn't like about the character creator was you give your character certain facial expressions, but then in the game they're always just a wimp.
Yeah.
So I had my cat looking like he was super serious and badass and all this, and then in the game he's with the first cutscene you see him and he's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. The story is not great in this game.
No, it's not.
they kind of butchered Tails' character. Like, he's terrified of Chaos Zero, even though in the games he literally
Chaos!
crossed Chaos multiple times in, I want to say, Chaos 4 and Chaos 6.
Chaos.
This is when he's much younger, so like, what is he doing? Uh, also, God, the 2D controls for classic Sonic are terrible. I don't know how they butchered it. Like, they had just made Mania, and like, even like, people say, oh, Sonic Generations classic Sonic isn't nearly as good as Mania, but like, Sonic Generations classic Sonic was miles better than the Sonic Forces classic Sonic. So I have no idea what happened there. But yeah,
I don't remember having too much issue with it, but I played the game like well over a year ago now at this point.
yeah,
Or
it's kind
actually,
of one of
probably
those
was
things where
last
it's
summer
not
when I
like
played it.
it makes it. It's one of those things where it doesn't have good game feel like 2D classic Sonic should have. It's not necessarily completely bad or broken. It's just not a lot of fun. It doesn't have that same magic classic Sonic should have. And he has had in all previous forms of classic Sonic. But Sonic 4 exists. Anyway, digressing from the Sonic fandom of me, I also played Towerfall for a good couple hours. Well, it must have been like 4 hours that we played Towerfall. My friend and I, Lord Kirov is how he's known on the internet. I know him simply as Nathan. It was his birthday. We played my Switch. Happy birthday, Nathan! Shout out!
Happy birthday.
But yeah, Towerfall is a really good game made by the same people that made Celeste before Celeste was out. And you can really see the resemblance. A lot of the art style is very similar. Even the gameplay style is similar. You can kind of tell that they kind of adapted the dash from Towerfall into Celeste's dash. And it's a really solid game with also great game feel, just like Celeste. But you have a bow and arrow, and you're shooting monsters in co-op mode or shooting each other in multiplayer mode. And it's a great party game, too. And yeah, Towerfall makes this distinction from a lot of other party games in that the single player is actually pretty solid. But also the two-player multiplayer, or the two-player co-op, is really, really solid. I highly recommend it. I also played a bit of Hades. It's not terrible. I'm not doing great at it, but I also don't fully understand what I'm supposed to do yet. But I played it like an hour, so I'll get better at that, and you'll probably hear a report on our next episode during the what we've been playing section. So
Yeah.
let's see. If you're on the Discord of That One Gaming Podcast, you can actually check out, I think, in the stream channel, my most recent stream as of recording. On Minecraft Monday, a week ago, on the recording of this stream, we had an incident, and we were trying to teleport frogs because we would like to have our camels that we got back in Rome in our main portion of the server, but we had teleported to a separate area to get some newly generated terrain. And so we were like, hey, could we teleport the camels back to our main area? And I was like, let's see if I can do it with command line. And instead of selecting the code for nearest entity, I actually accidentally selected to teleport all entities
Oh no.
to Crystal.
Oh no.
So, literally over 2,000 entities
Oh no.
into one place in our Minecraft city. And when there's that many entities together in one space, they start dying due to something called entity cramming. And also...
Oh, no, you didn't just take them all, you killed them all too.
Yeah. They didn't die all at once. They slowly took damage. So it was just this mass of 3D models screaming. Yeah. And iron golems were attacking all the hostile mobs that came from the underground. It was a mess.
Yeah.
That's awful.
We have it clipped on my channel. The most recent clip, most likely.
I watched it. It was hilarious.
It's great. Check it out. We fortunately had just backed up the server to update the latest update, so we did lose everything we did in the stream, but at least we weren't back to an earlier part of the week.
You saved you saved the animals. You met the Super Metroid goal incentive.
Exactly.
Yep.
But yes, that is what I've been playing this week. Colin, how about you?
I have been playing nothing except for Final Fantasy 16.
Right. Yep.
And let me tell you, it's really good.
Not really Final Fantasy. It's just the most recent one.
If they never make another one, it will be Final.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make another one. But yeah, I actually beat it this afternoon, and the ending just completely broke me.
Oh man.
Like it's phenomenal. This is it very early on pushed its way up into my top 5 Final Fantasy games. I don't think still it has quite what it takes to clear my top 3, just because that's where the nostalgia really hits home with those 3 games. But it's sitting pretty firmly at my 4th favorite Final Fantasy right now, and it was one of my all-time favorite Final Fantasy stories ever. Just the how dark it starts out, and just the crazy where it goes throughout the story. It's just phenomenal from start to finish. And I really like, a lot of people were talking about how the side quests weren't great, and I mean, they are, for the first portion of the game, they are a lot of like monotonous, go here, do the thing, come back and tell me you did the thing, MMO style side quests and stuff. And I mean, it's the MMO team that made this game, so it's understandable a little bit of MMO DNA kind of bled into it, because that's just what they're known for doing. But what they do really well is not necessarily in giving you like a tangible physical reward for doing the task, but they do such a good job of enriching the narrative of the characters involved in the side quest, of the like area of the world involved with the side quests and stuff. Every single side quest in this game just completely fleshes out the world of Alastia in such a full and dynamic way. It made it all really satisfying to kind of go through it all. And the late game side quests are absolutely phenomenal, because they're wrapping up all the little tiny storylines that you've had threads of all throughout the game, and now everything kind of comes together right before you actually go off to face the final boss. And there's some of the best quests in the entire game. And the combat system is freaking sweet. Ryota Suzuki, the combat director, was also the combat director for Devil May Cry 5 and Dragon's Dogma, both Capcom games. He referred to Final Fantasy XVI's battle system as his masterpiece, and it's just, I can see it. Like, it's so much fun to play, the moment-to-moment combat, switching between different icon powers and stuff, and dashing around the battlefield and getting completely wrecked by a giant dragon that's 8 levels higher than you are. It's great. So much fun. Like, there's another big thing that kind of came back in 16 was hunts, which they introduced to the series, I think, in Final Fantasy 12, where basically you go up to a bounty board and there's like super strong monsters on this bounty board that you can go and track down in the world and fight them and stuff. And you get powerful item rewards for it and stuff. You get like crafting materials, so that way by the end of the game you have everything you need to craft the strongest sword and armor in the game. So I had all that because I did all of the hunts, and a couple of them were super difficult, but when I finally beat them I was like, oh yeah, this feels good. There's just so many moments throughout the game in the combat specifically where it's just shines through how brilliant it is. It makes you feel better at it than you actually are at times, because you'll just be swinging in there and then all of a sudden you get a surprise parry. And the parry timing is such like split second stuff in there. So whenever you do actually get a parry, basically like the screen flashes and everything kind of blurs in this way and kind of goes slow-mo for a second, but you maintain all of your movement speed sort of, so that way you can still react and all that. So every time you get a parry, it just feels so satisfying, because I am not great at parry timing. So when I get one, it's like, oh, this is cool. Now I have a window of opening to attack and get some big hits in with my icon powers and stuff like that. And all of the icon powers are super fun. Like you start out with Phoenix, and its special ability is just like a dash that kind of allows you to get a quick burst of speed to move in and close the distance between you and the enemy. And then you unlock like Garuda, which has like a grab ability, so if it like smaller enemies, it'll pull them toward you, or larger enemies, it'll actually pull you up into the air and let you like do some aerial combo attacks and stuff like that. And it's really cool. And then what's really cool about that also is you can actually, like, if you are in the air with like a smaller enemy, like say you use Phoenix's dash to get up on an aerial enemy and start attacking it, and you get a little combo chain going, you can knock it down to the ground and then use Garuda's grab to pull it back up to you, so then continue the air combo. Like, there's so much cool stuff you can do. Titan's abilities are all like super defensive, so it gives you like its main ability is just a block, but if you block it within a certain window of time, it's a little bit more forgiving than parry, which is why I really started to like lean on that one, as opposed to like trying to parry or dodge counters and stuff like that. Because when you get a precision block with that, it actually gives you a window to get like 3 really strong free punches in where you're just uninterrupted and stuff. So it allows you to kind of get that extra damage in there as a counter attack and all that. But yeah, this game is just absolutely phenomenal. I am so glad it's finally out. And the craziest thing about it is, like, this is the first time since Final Fantasy X where development has just gone smoothly on a mainline Final Fantasy game. So we're talking 20 years since the last time a mainline Final Fantasy game just came out without any like super major issues during development. Like Final Fantasy 12 was delayed. Final Fantasy 13, they originally intended to release Final Fantasy 13 on the PlayStation 2, but when Final Fantasy 12 got delayed, because they were working on the 2 projects side by side, but 12 was more further along because it had been worked on longer. So when 12 got delayed, they had all this extra time with 13 that they were like, you know what, we got these new consoles coming out, let's rework it and release it for those instead. So they ended up having to like basically rewrite the entire engine for Final Fantasy 13, and that introduced a whole host of new issues to the project. So Final Fantasy 13 got delayed. In addition to that, that was the first time that they were making it a multi-platform release, because it came out on the 360 as well as the PlayStation 3. And well, we all know how easy the PlayStation 3 was to develop for.
Right.
So I mean, porting Final Fantasy 13 to a whole new set of systems introduced a whole host of new issues to it and stuff. So then another thing that they were doing with Final Fantasy 13 was they wanted to have it be this huge, like, multimedia giant sort of thing, where it was like a whole bunch of different stories told through like anime, comics, movies, and games and stuff, all sort of in the 13 world. and another game that they announced. And like they wanted to do like a whole bunch of different styles of games too. So like Final Fantasy 13 proper would have been the traditional RPG, where they also announced what was called Final Fantasy Versus 13, which was going to be an action game. And they wanted to do all sorts of things with it. Well, Versus 13 got delayed, and then it got delayed again, and then it got delayed again, and it got delayed again. Finally, they came out and announced that they were rebranding it as Final Fantasy 15. So, Final Fantasy 13 came out in 2010. Final Fantasy 15, which was supposed to be Versus 13, which was when they announced it, it should have been released like a couple years after 13. Final Fantasy 15 came out in 2016.
Jeez.
Because it just kept getting delayed and delayed. And when it came out, it wasn't even complete. So there was a whole bunch of story stuff, a whole bunch of stuff missing from the story campaign. They actually had to go in and like fix it through DLC basically, because everyone was like, what the heck is this? For the record, I played through Final Fantasy 15 at launch, put 70 hours into it, and enjoyed every bit of it in the state it was in back then. But a lot of people really weren't happy with it back then. I still gotta revisit it now that like it's quote finished. But there's other Final Fantasy games that I haven't beat yet that are kind of a priority right now. And then I skipped over Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 14 launched in I think 2013. And it was so bad that they took it offline, took the game off the market, and then that's when Yoshi P and the rest of the crew behind Final Fantasy 16 stepped in and they rebuilt all of Final Fantasy 14 from the ground up and relaunched it as A Realm Reborn. And the rest is history, because now that's next to World of Warcraft, the most popular MMO out there. I mean, it's huge now, and that's part of why they were able to be so confident in what they were doing with 16, because they had all this experience like writing stories and stuff with 14 and all their character dialogues and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
So to finally see for the first time in 20 years a Final Fantasy game just come out is amazing. It's one of the most polished games I've played this year as far as games that released this year. It's just I encountered one thing that I might consider a bug, but it's just like so minuscule and so random that like it would hardly hold it against the game's polish, because it's like one of those one in a million things. Like, how are you like, but it was very early on in the game where I killed a wolf and it didn't quite fall off of the ledge that it landed on when it died. So it just sat there and it rotated around like a rotisserie chicken for a couple minutes before it finally broke off the ledge and fell down. But like I
had something like that happen in BioShock.
Yeah.
It's in the long play on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those weird physics things that just one in a million chance of it happening, and it happened. So I hesitate to call that a bug in any way, shape, or form.
That's a glitch instead of a bug.
Yeah, it's not a bug, it's a feature. This ain't no Bethesda game. Anyway. And I also started up, after finishing Final Fantasy 16 today, I started up Final Fantasy 5 to continue my playthroughs of Final Fantasy games I haven't beaten yet this year, because that is one of, I think I only got 3 left. 5, 6, and 12. Yeah, so I only got 3 games left that I haven't beaten yet of the mainline series, which is 5, 6, and 12. So I started at 5 this afternoon after 16, because in the developer interviews leading up to Final Fantasy 16, a lot of the head developers were asked the question, what are your favorite Final Fantasy games, your top 3s? And over half of them said Final Fantasy V was their absolute favorite. Huh. So I thought that because Final Fantasy V, it never came out here in the West until like the late 90s on the PlayStation, and that port was awful.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was big in Japan when it released on the Super Famicom. So like a lot of these developers, they grew up playing that and appreciating it from its launch. So it just made sense going into this one. Like, yeah, it just felt natural to go to the one that all the developers of the game I just played said is their favorite. So I've started and not finished it a few times in the past, so this will be the time I finally cross the finish line with it, and I'm looking forward to it. Got the Pixel remaster all loaded up on my Switch. But anyway, I rambled on enough about Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy in general, I think. So, let's move on to our next segment, which I am happy to announce that with the opening of our Discord server, we also have a brand new segment to introduce to the show here on this episode. And it's titled, Hey, Listeners!
Hey, listen!
And in this segment, we're going to sort of lead into our main discussion by polling some of our listeners in our Discord server about the topic of each respective episode. And they get to write in, and we will read their comments here on the episode to kind of lead into the main subject. So, without further ado, we asked our listeners, what are your most favorite video game weapons? What they have to say. Crystal Lily is our first comment. She writes in, seems basic, but the Master Sword from Breath of the Wild. I remember how scared of Guardians I was until I got it, and after I did, I would go out of my way to hunt them down, cutting their legs off for revenge for all the anxiety they caused me. It was the best feeling ever. And that and ice weapons caused freezing enemies, and sliding off a cliff was always hilarious to me in Breath of the Wild. And yeah, the Master Sword is a huge get in Breath of the Wild, just because it's not immune to the weapon durability thing, but it doesn't break outright. It just kind of like has to recharge. So once you get that, like the weapon durability thing, if it was an issue for you, it is significantly less so after that. And also just the fact that it's pretty much the strongest sword in the game as well, because Master Sword, it's in Zelda. Yeah.
Naturally, yeah.
But yeah, our next write-in comes from Diablo, and Zelda, you will find, is pretty popular among our comments here. So Diablo says, I actually have a few, but I would say my top 3 favorite weapons from video games, in no particular order, would be the Force Sword from the Zelda Force Swords Adventures. It's more due to memories I have with the game from when me and my friends would turn on the GameCube and play that game all the time back in high school. And
Four Swords pretty cool.
yeah, I haven't played Four Swords yet.
I mean, it was doing co-op 4-player before it was cool on the Wii.
Yeah.
Was that another one that you had to have all the Game Boys plugged into? Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it was very inaccessible.
That's probably
why
why.
nobody
I mean, you can play it single player without a Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
It
but
still is a fun Zelda experience, even by
Yeah.
yourself. So.
Yeah, the second one was the Blade of Awe from an old browser game called Adventure Quest, due to the fact that it was really powerful. But because of the fact that I had to go into the world of the game to find the pieces to make that sword, that I felt such an accomplishment when I completed it. And I still go back to play that game here and there. And then the third one was the Dragon's Bane from Dragon Quest VIII. One, because it looked cool to me with the dragon's head as the guard with the blade coming out of its mouth, but also, like the Four Swords, Dragon Quest VIII has a special place, also due to the fact that it was not only my very first game I bought with my own money, but also the game that got me into JRPGs. Dragon Quest VIII is really good. I admittedly bought it back in the day because it came with a demo disc for Final Fantasy XII.
That checks out.
Yeah. But yeah, it was. I mean, it's got that Akira Toriyama art style that all of the Dragon Quest games are known for, and it's definitely one of the stronger games in the series. I do want to go back and revisit it now that I'm older, and can probably get a little bit more into it with a little bit more RPGs under my belt now.
Next time on Dragon Quest Z.
Yes. Sheik says, Does Gundam count?
Yes.
I mean,
Sure.
yeah, they are technically weapons of war, but they also have weapons that they wield.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, a Gundam is definitely a weapon. So yeah, that counts. There are games where you pilot Gundams. So yeah, that counts. B-Man12HK writes in and says, after thinking about it, I realized I had a long list. So I'll just name the 3 off the bat as well. Yeah, it's really, really hard to narrow some of these down with so many great choices over the years. Number 1 is the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII. Great pull. So literally the very first time I saw someone with Cloud's body type wielding a weapon that looked heavier and bigger than the character who wielded it. And after some time, it became such an iconic weapon for me due to its own story and the characters who wielded it. Yes, the Buster Sword is. It was on my short list as well, but there's another Final Fantasy weapon that's just a little bit more significant to me that we'll get to later. Number 2 is the Rhino from the Ratchet and Clank series. I don't.
Hell
yeah. That talk about a series with great weapons.
Yep.
B-Man writes, I don't think I had played a game when I was younger that perfectly caused as much insane destruction on screen more than the Rhino. In each game it's different, but it can basically be described as a walking screen nuke because everything will be dead after you fire it.
It's great.
And their number 3 was the Yamato from Devil May Cry. So you ever see someone cut the fabric of space and time in half with a demonic katana? It might not seem like a lot nowadays, but back in Devil May Cry 3, it was one of the coolest things ever. Seeing how Virgil effortlessly wields the Yamato to cut down his enemies is a sight to behold. Devil May Cry 3 was a fantastic game. My memory of it is very, very faint because it's been so many years since I played it on the PlayStation 2, but yeah, I remember having to fight Virgil toward the end of that game, and that was a freaking fight, let me tell you. Another one of those just fantastic action games. And our last comment for this episode comes from Lord Kirov. So
Hey,
Happy birthday.
happy birthday.
so is number 1 the Kirov airship from the Command and Conquer Red Alert series. It's a devastating unit if it's able to reach its target. Its only defense is how tanky it is, and the voice lines are fantastic.
Kirov airship.
I'm sensing a connection here.
Gotta be cool.
Nah, and his logo is literally Kirov airship as well. So
Makes sense. It tracks. Number 2 is the Corvus sword from the Dishonored game. Or Corvos? Is that the... Yeah. Anyway. Deadly, concealed, and it fits the game's steampunk theme perfectly. And as many people have tried to recreate it in real life, nobody can make it reliably work like it does in the games. I haven't played much of Dishonored. I've only played probably the first couple hours of the game, and then kind of fell off of it because other things were kind of pulling at my attention at the time, but I like what the game has going for it. I do like good stealth games, and Dishonored is definitely fits that criteria for sure. I'd like to go back to it.
Also looks like a good speed game from...
Yes, it's got...
The very, very minimal gameplay footage I've seen of it was from someone in the computer lab at college I was going to was watching Games Done Quick, and they were playing Dishonored and taking advantage of the dash movement. It was very fun to watch.
Yeah, it's got very good movement. And number 3 from Lord Kirov is the Diamond Sword from Minecraft. As an OG player, it still has that symbol of reaching a milestone in the game, and it's so iconic nowadays that I just think it's changed farming culture to a degree after being used as an Easter egg in so many games. The Diamond Sword is pretty iconic, I would say, at this point.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you everybody for writing in on our very first Hey Listeners segment. So let's get into our favorite weapons from video games. And I don't know about you guys, but like one of these is absolutely a favorite, but some of these are just like they're favorites, but I wouldn't put them in any order, really,
Yeah,
because there's just
same
so
here.
many fantastic weapons in all throughout video games that narrowing it down to 3 like we usually do is pretty hard, but it leaves stuff open for us to revisit this topic in the future, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, even like just one specific game, it's sometimes hard to come up with
Yeah,
3 favorites.
Especially with stuff like Ratchet and Clank, where there's just so many good guns.
Yeah.
Oh, but
All my favorite toys to play with in Phantasy Star Online.
but anyway, Lucas, what's the first one you got for us today?
Well, it's the ubiquitous shotgun from first-person shooters in general. But also an old favorite and goes back to what I've been playing is Unreal Tournament's Flak Cannon.
Hey,
My all-time favorite combination shotgun grenade launcher.
Good.
Other honorable mentions for shotguns is the Doom Super Shotgun
Yeah.
from the MS-DOS games. It's almost as powerful as the rocket launcher, but with much, much more plentiful ammo, thanks to sharing ammunition with the regular shotgun, which is also awesome. We got also the shotgun from Halo Combat Evolved, man's best friend
yeah.
once you get to the library.
Oh yeah. The Halo 1 shotgun is phenomenal.
Yep. Once the flood starts appearing, that is going to be your best
Yeah.
friend. The flood don't like the Covenant, or like they become bullet sponges for the Covenant weaponry, but like if you pick up a shotgun, you're golden.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And there's
that shotgun's just got such a satisfying sound to it as well.
Yeah. Also, I think fairly iconic is the Duke Nukem 3D shotgun. Another very prevalent shotgun in gaming. And then, well, the Unreal Tournament / Unreal Gold Flak Cannon is my long-time standby in those games. Back when I was younger, like as soon as I pick up a flak cannon, I was immediately like on track to meet the deathmatch kill score for the match. It's got 2 modes of fire, so I did mention it was combination like grenade launcher, flak or shotgun type weapon. First mode of fire fires a burst of flak pellets that like pretty good travel on them, all things considered. Playing just a bot match before we started recording, and I managed to kill a couple of people across the map with the flak cannon. So that gives you an idea of how far those little flak pieces travel. But its secondary fire will launch just a full shell. It doesn't break it apart at all. It just arcs a shell, lobs it in front of you. If you're really good at picking out your firing angle, you can get some really good distance on it. And it just explodes on contact.
Nice.
And if you whip out the terminal in the game and pause game time for a little bit, there's actually a little Easter egg. If you alt-fire the flak cannon, you can go around to the front of the shell, and there's a smiley face on the front of it for you.
Nice.
Yep. Have a nice day, Blackhead. In that glorious Unreal Tournament jib fashion. So yeah, that's my first pick.
How about Neal?
well, just to get it out of the way, Ratchet and Clank has so many great weapons. I had both the second and third game for the original PS2 Ratchet and Clank games, and I had a ton of fun with those. I when we initially did this idea, preparing for it, I was like, I just wrote down a Ratchet and Clank weapon. And narrowing it down actually was kind of difficult. Yeah. I considered actually doing the shotgun in Ratchet and Clank, which is the Blitz gun, at least in Ratchet and Clank 2. I believe the third one is called Nitro Launcher. I'm not 100% sure what the Megacorp equivalent is. Or, well, wait. The Gadgetron equivalent in Ratchet and Clank 3. But after watching a video with a whole bunch of the weapons, I realized my favorite weapon is the Ratchet and Clank Visibomb, which originally appeared in the first game and was actually a useful weapon for killing people. But I did not have the first game. My experience was with the second game's version of this, which didn't deal as much damage to enemies, or rather, I guess the enemies had more toughness than it previously did in Ratchet and Clank 1. So
they learned their lesson from the first time, so they got tougher.
Yes. Ratchet and Clank 2 was much more combat focused than the first one, which is part of why I never picked up the first one, because it is a different style of game in a way.
Also, it's different voice actors for Ratchet.
Yeah, and they're not as good at all.
Say what you will say about James Arnold Taylor and some of his voice performances in the past as the Titus from Final Fantasy X, but he's a great voice actor, and he is Ratchet.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, the Visibomb is basically a gun with a camera on it that you can control as it's firing.
So the Redeemer from Unreal Tournament.
Sure. No idea what that is.
Well,
basically,
it's a remote-controlled missile.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, that's what this is, basically. But yeah, we ended up using it for exploring. When I say we, I mean me and my dad. We ended up using it for exploring levels in places that you weren't supposed to look at.
Oh.
And Insomniac games are really detailed, so we would find stuff that, like, nobody should have seen, but, like, there was still detail there. And this was one of our favorite things, to just mess around and try to find new stuff and never really use it as a weapon.
Nice.
There are a ton of weapons in that game that are a ton of fun to use as actual weapons. The Rhino does come to mind. There's a lava gun that it sprays a flow of lava, which is really fun. And especially by the time Up Your Arsenal came out and the weapon upgrades just, like, became crazy complicated. All the weapons do tons of cool stuff. Like, I think the lava gun in Up Your Arsenal turns into, like, a liquid nitrogen gun, and you can freeze things and then whack them with your wrench, very similar to BioShock.
Nice.
But Ratchet and Clank did it first.
It sure did.
Duke Nukem did it in '97 with the freeze thrower.
Did he whack him with a wrench?
Technically.
No, he kicked him with his mighty foot.
Okay, but it's not a wrench.
That's not a wrench.
It's
Omni
Duke's
Wrench
mighty
is also Omni Wrench is actually a cool weapon as well. It's just a basic melee weapon, but you can also throw it like a boomerang and it comes back to you. It's very neat. But I digress. Ratchet and Clank, Visibomb, definitely my favorite weapon, just for the pure fact that it allowed us to explore Ratchet and Clank 2's crazy detailed environments and find enemies off screen that are, like, just doing random things. Enemies in Ratchet and Clank 2 and 3, when they're not loaded, or when they're loaded in but, like, they're not alert to you, will do random things like play rock, paper, scissors and just, like, talk to each other. Yeah. It's a cool game. Play Ratchet and Clank. You will love it.
So I just love exploring games in unconventional ways like that.
Right. Moving on. Colin, what is your first pick?
Well, first off, I just want to throw out a quick honorable mention that didn't quite make my list, but an honorable mention to the BFG from Quake 2 specifically, only because my only real memory of playing that game with my brother was this one time. It was like an old PC game, and back then, like, they didn't have, like, all of the, like, registration codes and stuff worked out yet, so you could install the same copy of the game on multiple computers and just it works. So I got a copy of Quake 2 from somewhere. I don't know where for the PC. I installed it on my computer and our other computer that my dad worked off of. And then my brother and I were playing a multiplayer match against each other over the network. And I just took a blind shot at a wall with the BFG. And then all of a sudden it showed up in the top of the screen. You killed Ian. And I was like, what? I ran out of my room and my room was like right down the hall from where my dad's computer was set up, where my brother was playing. And I like ripped my bedroom door open, ran down the hall, and I was just like, what? Did you see that? My brother was like so mad. He's like, yeah, I'm done. I quit.
That story never gets old.
So shout out to the BFG as an honorable mention. But my first pick officially for this episode today is just shout outs to the pistol from Halo 1.
Another great Halo weapon.
It's just one of the best pistols in a video game.
It really is.
It's got a great punch to it. It's got a scope it doesn't actually have a scope, but somehow it has a scope. And it's a I forget the actual terminology for it in the Halo universe, but it's capable of precision headshots as well. So you can use it sort of as a mini sniper rifle. And it's just phenomenal. Like, you could go through the entirety of Halo 1 and not use a single gun but the pistol, and you'd be fine. Yep. It's great. Such a good gun. I love it. It's just like the sound is so set. Like, all the sound design in Halo is phenomenal for like all their guns and stuff. It just has a really, really satisfying weight to it. And yeah. I think Bungie learned very quickly that the thing was way too OP because they nerfed the hell out of it for Halo 2. And then everyone was like, well, the Halo 2 pistol sucks. So in Halo 3, they tried to make it a little bit better, but it wasn't the same. I mean, they made it headshot capable, and they gave it a little bit of an ability to zoom in Halo 3. But it didn't have the same punch. I think it had a little bit more recoil on the shot or something. But that Halo 1 pistol, man. Oh, so good. It's a good freaking gun.
It really is. Like, you can get through most of Halo Combat Evolved without ever touching a Covenant weapon, and it's mostly owed to weapons like the pistol and the shotgun.
And the rocket launcher.
And the rocket launcher. That definitely helps.
I love Halo. I wish it was. I wish it was still good. Well, the first 3 will always be good.
Yep.
And we can still play them on Master Chief Collection. So there's that. Anyway, Lucas, what's your number 2 weapon of choice?
Well, it's probably one of the most iconic broken weapons of the Mega Man series, the Metal Blade. Hailing from Mega Man 2, rewarded by defeating Metal Man. Received the Metal Blade, which is basically a saw blade. Infinitely sharp metal that Metal Man is composed of. And it is incredibly broken. Because you can aim it in 8 different directions.
Oh my.
Not only that, but it's also incredibly weapon energy efficient. You get 2 blades per 1 line on the energy meter. I think you get 3 actually, because you can fire 2 of them, pause the game, reselect the weapon, and fire 2 more of them, and it won't take away any of your weapon energy because it doesn't count the half units.
Oh boy. Thank you, old game design.
Yep. Also, it's like a great weapon to use in levels against enemies that take damage. which is to say you can kill just about anything on screen with it.
Yeah, and being 8-directional, that does kind of break Mega Man on a foundational level,
Yes.
because historically, those games you can only really shoot forward. So if you wanted to shoot something above you, you'd have to jump up to meet it and be level with it in order to hit it. But being able to just aim up diagonally at it completely breaks that game.
Yep. And I mean, same is kind of true for the Elec Beam in Mega Man 1, and then the Shadow Blade, which is kind of a patched version of the Metal Blade in Mega Man 3. The Pharaoh Shot in Mega Man 4, the Ring Throw in Mega Man 5, the whatever Gyro Man's weapon in Mega Man 6 is called, I forget. Probably just something generic like Gyro Shot. To the Mega Man Wiki. Gyro Cannon. Gyro Cannon? Gyro Attack. Gyro Attack, definitely that one. Wait, that's Mega Man 5. What am I thinking?
What are you thinking?
Anyways, just about every Mega Man game has some sort of broken, can aim in any direction, or allows you to shoot upwards to some degree type weapon. And, well, it just so happens that the Metal Blade is the most iconic because it's the most broken of the batch. Especially when you consider also how many Robot Masters are actually weak to Metal Blade. So, in addition to being incredibly broken, the Metal Blade is Bubble Man's weakness, but it's also incredibly effective against Flashman. But probably its most iconic usage is against Metal Man himself. You can kill Metal Man in 2 shots with the Metal Blade.
Nice.
Yeah, he is a very easy Robot Master to fight during the refights in the Dr. Wily stages. It's also fairly effective against Woodman, does 4 damage, and can also hit Heatman for 2 whole damage, but you're probably better off using the Bubble Lead for that one. So yeah, it deals good damage against 3 of the 8 Robot Masters and does okay damage against a 4th. Also is incredibly useful during the Dr. Wily machine phase 1 and 2, and it's also fairly useful against the Dr. Wily stage 2 boss, Pico Pico Kun, which like you fall into a room with a background, then pieces of the walls come together to join together into little robots that eat down very quickly with the Metal Blade. Apparently, its actual weakness is the Bubble Lead, which sounds horrible, actually. And I am, in fact, just finding this out because I've always fought it with the Metal Blade because it's just that much easier.
Nice.
Like, I didn't realize that was not the actual weakness. So, that just goes to show how powerful the Metal Blade actually is.
Absolutely busted.
Yep. Yeah, apparently the Dr. Wily machine's first form is weak to atomic fire. Good luck having atomic fire for that. Its second form is Crash Bomber, which you're likely only going to have if you game overed after the Boo Beam trap.
I'm sorry.
And,
you game over after the what trap?
Boo Beam.
Oh, okay. Thought you said something else.
Yeah. It's a name for a boss for sure. It's a bunch of lasers attached to a wall, and you have to shoot them with the crash bomber, and it's very annoying because sometimes you can get killed during that boss fight, and then you will respawn in front of there without having enough energy with the crash bomber to defeat it.
Nice.
Yeah, that boss sucks.
Neal, what's your next weapon?
My next weapon, well, I have to get this out of the way, is from Sonic.
Ah, a Sonic weapon.
Yeah.
The sonic weapon possibly be.
Well, Sonic actually doesn't have a ton of weapons because he is the
Sonic
weapon.
is the weapon.
Yeah, he jumps on his foes. And initially, I was considering trying to go with Shadow the Hedgehog and bend the rules a bit because he's referred to as a living weapon.
Oh, you weren't going to talk.
It's the ultimate life form.
You weren't going to talk about his.
Yeah. But no, Shadow actually is related to my actual pick, which is the Eclipse Cannon. The Eclipse Cannon is used in Sonic to actually blow up the moon. So it's...
Wow.
Yeah, were you not aware of this, Colin?
Oh.
Yeah. Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh, okay.
Eggman blows up the moon.
Of course he does. That sounds like an Eggman thing to do.
Yep.
Which the moon doesn't appear to be damaged in future Sonic games, which is kind of weird. When questioned, Izuka has said that
It got better.
the part no, that'd be pretty good too.
There's only
No,
one.
honestly, these are better answers than what the actual one, which is that part he blew up is the part that doesn't face Earth in Sonic, so it just looks normal.
Huh.
Yep.
So he only blew up the dark side of the moon. Right.
Correct.
Wait, that
So-
doesn't make sense.
What? Well, because it's powered by a space station, so it's not like he's shooting up from the Earth.
No, it's just the dark side of the moon is always relative, though.
No, the dark side of the moon is always the
Wait.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how physics works.
Wait,
Space physics around the Earth.
yeah. No, because the moon rotates.
Right, and then you see the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, but like the side that's dark is constantly changing.
No, it's not.
Look, he just really hates Pink Floyd, okay?
No, because the side that is dark changes as the moon rotates.
No, actually,
Because different.
in real life, the moon is always shaded on one half, and if you go to that side, it's always in the shade.
But the moon rotates, meaning that surface that is dark right now is not going to be dark once it rotates out of that area.
Something, Mobile Suit Gundam, something, Lagrange points.
Just like the other side of the Earth right now. Well, I guess our side of the Earth right now is about to be dark, but it's not going to be dark in 12 hours because the Earth is rotating.
What if the Earth is flat, though? What if those darn flat earthers are right?
Weird space science lessons on that one gaming podcast. Anyway, back to the Sonic weapon.
Anyway, the Eclipse Cannon is initially to threaten. Eggman uses it to threaten the President of the United States, gun or whatever it is, and he doesn't realize it. But Shadow is actually working behind his back because he just wants to blow up the Earth because the humans killed Maria. And once Eggman figures this out, he joins sides with Sonic and Co. to stop Shadow from shooting Earth with the Eclipse Cannon. Amy, or Chris Thorndike, if you're watching Sonic X, convinces Shadow that, hey, maybe Maria didn't want you to do this, and then he helps you stop it. Then BioLizard shows up. It's been a while since I played Sonic Adventure 2. something about BioLizard. Shadow has to stop him. Eventually, though, once Shadow decides to help them at the very end, BioLizard blocks the way to the last part of the Eclipse Cannon that they have to destroy. And Shadow, who has recently been convinced by Amy, or in Sonic X, Chris Thorndike, to join sides, he says, I'll take care of BioLizard. You guys destroy the Emerald, or destroy the Eclipse Cannon's core so that this doesn't happen. And Shadow defeats him, but then BioLizard, because it's the prototype for the ultimate life form, they made this huge giant lizard. It's orange with a gray underbelly, and it has got like tubes coming out of it. That was the prototype for Shadow. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know how that translated.
I decided the hedgehog would be a more effective design.
Yeah, and this is a huge lizard. This isn't like a Sonic size lizard. This is just a giant, massive lizard the size of, I don't know, a tank, maybe. But anyway, BioLizard turns into Final Hazard and attaches itself to the tip of the Eclipse Cannon and is actively pulling the space station towards the Earth, hoping that just space colony collision with the Earth will destroy enough of the humans to get its revenge. And Sonic and Shadow both go super, live and learn plays, and they defeat it. And Shadow dies.
Oh.
You kill Big Gun.
Later in Shadow the Hedgehog, I haven't actually played Shadow the Hedgehog, but I do know that Black Doom, the bad guy in that one, wants to destroy Earth with the Eclipse Cannon as well. But Shadow rather uses it instead to destroy the comet that the Black Arms, Black Doom's people are on, and get rid of them. So that is how that game resolves. And then we never see the Eclipse Cannon again.
Huh.
Because Sonic lore is all over the place. But
Yep.
anyway, yeah, that is the Eclipse Cannon. And honestly, it hasn't seen too much outside interpretations on it in like the comics or TV shows other than Sonic X. That they basically just copied Sonic Adventures 2's plot and added some humans into it. They did a couple cool things, in my opinion, fleshing out some of the stories. They had humans from the Sonic X cartoon talk about like working on Space Colony Arc when Maria was shot, which kind of like makes the world a little bit more fuller. But that never made much sense to me in Sonic X because like Sonic's world and Earth there were two different planets.
Yeah.
So how did Shadow end up on that? And also is what makes me concerned for the Sonic 3, because Shadow is from Gerald Robotnik is not from the world that Sonic is from. It's from an alternate dimension or whatever it is in that movie. So they're going to have to do some rearranging to make that work. Sonic Adventure 2 is probably the best Sonic story in concept. Its execution is pretty rough, but I think they're going to have a hard time adapting the story into Sonic 3, the movie. So I am concerned about Sonic 3 not being as great as Sonic 2. But anyway, we'll have to see when that comes out. Colin, what is your third pick?
Second pick. We're only
Right.
2 weapons
Sorry.
in.
I moved to my tab of the third pick, so I
My my second pick is the Monado from Xenoblade Chronicles. The iconic red sword wielded by Shulk. And it's just a really cool, iconic RPG sword. I mean, you can't mistake it. It's just that really cool red sword with the blue light for a blade that extends out. And it's really cool because it gives its wielder the gift of foresight. So Shulk is actually able to kind of peer into the future a little bit. And it's a big plot point in Xenoblade Chronicles 1, where Shulk he gets these visions of his friends dying, and like he uses the Monado to kind of change and rewrite fate and protect them from being hurt and stuff like that. Like a lot of times when you're unlocking specific powers for the Monado, it's usually accompanying Shulk like saving one of his friends. Like there's one very early on, one of the first powers that you unlock is the Monado shield, and Shulk gets a vision of one of his friends being like brutally murdered by this giant spider, and he kind of unlocks within him the ability to channel the Monado shield, so that way when that spider goes to attack his friend, he's able to kind of cast this big barrier to prevent the spider from being able to hurt his friends and stuff like that. But the Monado itself has a whole bunch of different powers that it grants Shulk. Like the most iconic one obviously is the Monado Buster, which if you're familiar with Smash Bros, you'll hear him yell at a lot, Buster! And like that's a super powerful attack. It like basically creates a giant blade of light and then strikes enemies and stuff. That's it's really good for damaging the Mechon in Xenoblade Chronicles, because they are famously only able to be damaged by the Monado. Like regular weapons are ineffective against them. So then the Monado also has the ability Enchant, which allows Shulk to basically enchant the weapons of his party members to, for a limited time, be able to deal damage to Mechon like they were also Monados, which is really useful in the game and stuff, because there's a lot of times in that game where you find yourself fighting these stupid robots. So being able to damage them effectively is kind of helpful. And then you also get, like I mentioned, the Monado Shield. You also get the Monado Speed, which you can give a party member a higher chance to evade attacks. Then Monado Purge is a ranged blast that kind of nullifies what's known as spike effects on certain enemies. So toward the middle of the game, I think, certain enemies, once you get them past a certain threshold of their health bar, they get what's called spike effects. And it's notated by like the area surrounding their health bar gets like this really, really spiky pattern surrounding it. And usually what that does, it varies by enemies. Sometimes if you hit them while they have a spike effect active, like it'll inflict poison on you, or if you hit them, it'll just deal damage back to your character as well and stuff. So it's really, really useful to be able to like nullify those abilities. Otherwise, things will kind of get a little out of hand for you. And then there's also Monado Armor that reduces physical and ether damage taken. Then the percentage that it reduces, it can range from 30 to 75% depending on the level that you have that art. Monado Cyclone damages all enemies around the user, and then Topple if they have break on them, which is useful because Topple is a very useful mechanic because it gives you a window of uninterrupted attacks, basically, because the enemy is just kind of laying there struggling to get back up. And the last one is Monado Eater, which pulls away it nullifies any buffs that the enemy has on them at any given time, and it also causes bleed damage, which is basically just like a gradual loss of health and all that. But I just remember, even before I played Xenoblade Chronicles, just when I first saw Shulk in Smash Bros, and he had this like really cool red sword, and it had like the Japanese kanji symbol in the big round center of the sword. I just thought it was such a cool looking sword. And then actually playing with it in Xenoblade Chronicles and seeing how it's actually utilized in canon, even cooler. It's definitely like, and I mean, it's right there on the box art as well, right front and center on the box art of Xenoblade 1. Just the lone Monado sitting there with the Bionis in the background. It's just such an iconic image as well. It's a great sword.
Yeah.
It's a really good sword. It's a really good game. And what's even crazier about the Monado is just like how they reveal its origin throughout the game. is just absolutely mind-boggling as well, just in typical like Monolith Soft ways, because they're such fantastic writers. But yeah, the Monado. The Monado! It's a very good weapon. It's a very good sword. Lucas, you got one more weapon for us. What you got?
Well, it is like my personal favorite of the beams in the Metroid games. That is the wave beam.
Wave beam's a good beam.
Incredibly good beam. So good that they keep pushing it later and later in each subsequent Metroid game.
Yeah, it was really late in Dread.
Yeah, it is the last beam that you pick up in Fusion. Were it not for the plasma beam existing in Zero Mission, it's also the last beam you pick up before the twist ending to Metroid Zero Mission, where they added new gameplay to it. Then collect the legendary suit, and then you have the plasma beam included in there too. But the wave beam goes all the way back to Metroid on the NES, where it is very useful solely because it allows you to shoot critters that are walking along the floor. Because much like in Mega Man, being able to shoot at ground level is very useful when there's enemies that crawl under your otherwise average height beams. Especially because you could not crouch in that game. You just go into morph ball mode and lay bombs, which isn't always the best. But then once you move on to Metroid 2, it also becomes one of the most useful beams in the game, because that game has a beam swapping system, but because of memory limitations, you could only have one at a time. So if you find the wave beam in that game, stick with it until you're forced to use the ice beam during the final segment where you have to kill the regular Metroid larva.
Oh yeah, didn't you also have to like backtrack to equip different beams in that game too?
Yes.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, they also disappeared if you picked them up. So they're sort of limited one-time pickups. I may remember wrong on that one. I've only played through Metroid 2 twice because Metroid 2.
Yeah.
Now, once you get to Metroid 3, better known as Super Metroid, greatest game of all time, don't at me, it is easily one of the biggest explorative tools that you can have in that game. In addition to firing in like a sinusoidal wave pattern, hence the name Wave Beam, it also goes through walls, which not only makes it a very useful utility for finding hidden items and hidden blocks in the walls, but also allowing you to shoot through platforms to open doors ahead of time. Like, it's a speedrunner's best friend, really. Also, in that game, you can combine it with the power bombs to produce the, as the speedrunning community has nicknamed it, X Factor power beam combo, or power bomb combo, where like 4 like charged wave beam shots will come in at or in center on Samus from each of the 4 corners of the screen. They'll fly in diagonally, and they hit for damage equal to a super missile. So they're commonly used during like the Dragon and Ridley and even the Mother Brain fight in some cases to do lots of damage in very short order. Used to kill Botwoon, the like sub-boss in Meridia, on your way to fight Dragon, before it really even fully gets out of the hole in the wall it crawls out of. And then, as mentioned, in Metroid Fusion, it is pushed all the way to the end of the game. It is the last beam that you find because, well, Fusion reasons. Can't really sequence break in that game without breaking that game beyond playability. Sequence breaks in Fusion often lead to soft locks.
Yeah.
But that also opens up like collecting 100% items because of all of the hidden things that necessitate the wave beam for finding. Unlike in Super Metroid, there's no X-ray scope, so the wave beam is your X-ray scope. And in only in Metroid Prime, the first one of the Prime games, and it is very different and not what I would consider the traditional wave beam, but it is still a very neat incarnation of the wave beam, because in that game it deals electrical damage.
Ooh.
So shooting a charge shot at enemies will stun them in place, allowing you to shoot them further or even charge up another shot and basically stun lock them in place. Also lets you power unpowered circuits in some places for puzzles, and also restore power to things that were previously powered off. It does not go through walls anymore, which is but still a very useful weapon. It's definitely, I think, my favorite of Samus's typically 3 recurring beams. The fourth one's kind of all over the place, because it's been Spazer in Super Metroid and Metroid 2, but then also it's been the wide beam in like Metroid Fusion onwards, which is like, it's really all the same thing though, where it's just kind of the spread gun that shoots for the full height of Samus rather than just the block directly in front of her. Yeah, I love the wave beam. It's super useful. It even has in one of my favorite games of all time, Cave Story, there's even a reference to the wave beam with the weapon, the snake.
Cool.
Yeah, it has shots that will go through walls, and as you level up the weapon, then it gains that famous wave pattern.
That's cool.
Yeah.
The wave beam is great.
It is.
I love playing with the Metroid games. I love shooting through walls.
Yeah. It's especially useful if you ever want to go exploring the Metroid 1 hidden worlds, which are, for those not familiar with the Metroid 1 hidden worlds, Metroid 1 is a NES game, which means that there are some very glitchy things that you can do in it. Notably, in places you can wrap the screen by using a trick called the door glitch, where you get stuck in a door and then rapidly go into morph ball mode and exit morph ball mode to climb up about half a block at a time. And as long as you stay in a good rhythm and don't ever get stuck in the morph ball state, or you will be stuck in the wall and have to reset the game, you can sometimes enter areas in unintended manners, like especially in elevator rooms. You can screen wrap doing the door glitch and end up in like Kraid's lair without ever leaving the room set for Bryn Star.
Nice.
Which leads to some very interesting glitched areas. And, well, having the wave beam and being able to shoot through walls is incredibly useful there, because sometimes that's the only way to proceed, because it spawns 2 rooms that in, like, Kraid's Lair's tile map line up, but in the Bryn Star tile map, for example, no longer line up as valid rooms. The Metroid Hidden Worlds is very fascinating. I highly recommend looking into it if you're into that sort of glitchy game behavior.
Nice. Neal, what do you got for your last weapon? The actual weapon 3 this time, not weapon 2. Like it was for me.
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you.
Knuckles.
I do actually have an honorable mention that I forgot to mention at the beginning, which is because I changed what my third thing was going to be like halfway through your intro.
Nice.
Because I thought of something. Initially, I was what a twist, indeed. Initially, I was going to pick the Keyblade because I actually had a hard time coming up with weapons, but I was going to pick the Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts just because it's a pretty unique and iconic weapon. Whacking things with a giant key. Also, I really wanted to mention it because the Kingdom Hearts wiki has a little quote about the Keyblade, or associated with the Keyblade, apparently. All it is Sora in Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance saying, "This is what lights the darkness, a chance to make everyone happy," which is a very Kingdom Hearts thing to say.
Yeah.
A little aside, since we're on the subject of Kingdom Hearts,
Word. Let's do it.
a lot of people that have complaints with Final Fantasy 16 and the story is that they complain that after a certain point, a bunch of Kingdom Hearts stuff gets into the story and that ruins it.
Really?
Well, I am sorry to disappoint these people, but Kingdom Hearts stuff is just Final Fantasy stuff. Get over it. I'm
Yeah.
not the world's biggest Kingdom Hearts fan. In fact, I have historically not cared for the series after some bad experiences with the first game back in the day. But all of this crap that people say they hate Kingdom Hearts for was in Final Fantasy first.
It sure was.
So that's it. That's my aside. Anyway, continue.
All right. But Mickey doesn't appear or anything in Final Fantasy 16 because that's really the only unique part of. Anyway, my actual final one is technically a weapon, and it's from one of my favorite games of all time, the Spiny Shell from Mario Kart. Honestly, this is kind of not exactly my favorite item in Mario Kart, but I don't know what is my favorite item. And the blue shell is just so iconic and hectic that I just want to talk about it.
You monster.
Yeah. The spiny shell, more locally known as the blue shell, first appeared in 64, and it actually acted differently than it does now. It's actually changed a lot over the course of the 8 games, 9 if you want to count Deluxe as a separate thing. And in Mario Kart 64, which I haven't actually played that one as much, so I might have to lean in on Lucas here. It doesn't act the same. It doesn't have wings like it does in some of the later games.
It does not.
So it just goes straight forward until it hits the first player, and it actually knocks out obstacles in the way.
Yep. If you happen to be crossing the road at the wrong time when a blue shell's coming in Mario Kart 64, it will hit you, but it will still keep going.
Right. And it did appear in one of the Mode 7 games in Super Circuit, and it actually acts fairly similarly to 64, just in the Mode 7 playing field. And it actually is a lot weaker because it can fall off the track if you make a jump. But where it gets really crazy is in Double Dash, and arguably at its worst. This is when it gets the wings and starts flying, and it straight up does an explosion, and that is where it can actually take out other enemies, or other racers rather, and man oh man, did blue shells show up a lot in Double Dash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Double Dash is a hectic game, and blue shells do not help. Having multiple items in your hands means that there can be so many green shells. They have the giant Bowser shells. It's just nuts. But the blue shells definitely take on their wing form here and become the, oh god, I hate blue shells part of Mario Kart that they're known for now. Mario Kart DS, they're basically the same. Mario Kart Wii, honestly, I feel like Mario Kart Wii is the most unfun one with the items, but that's more towards there's multiple items that are just completely destroy you. Like the Thunderbolt is back, but also there's the POW block. They've got the Thunder Cloud, and the Bullet Bill is introduced. There's just a lot going on in Wii, and I think it's the most irritating of the Mario Kart games. Mario Kart 7, they got rid of the wings, and it functions a little more similarly to the original. But yeah, I haven't played much of Mario Kart 7, but it did create the trend of no winged blue shells, which in Mario Kart 8, blue shells are at their tamest. Oh, Mario Kart 7 and in 8, they also hit players. They go along the ground, so they hit other players if you're in the way, like they originally did in 64. And the thing about 8 is that finally, for the first time, instead of having to use like last minute star power or mushrooming at exactly the right point, Mario Kart 8 introduced the Super Horn, which is the bane of blue shells and is the savior of the difficulty of that game. Mario Kart 8 is definitely the most balanced Mario Kart, and it's in large part thanks to nerfing the blue shell with the Super Horn.
Honk if you love the Super
Honk.
Horn.
Honk if you love the Super Horn. And I'm not going to talk about it in Mario Kart Tour because nobody likes that game.
Yep. It had its own tier in our tier list, and it was all the way at the bottom.
Sure did.
And I am the authority on Mario Kart.
Apparently, yeah.
But yeah, the blue shell is one of those things that can break friendships in party games. You can end up just about to win the race, and somebody launches a blue shell just the right time, right before that finish line, and suddenly you're in fourth.
Yep. Or lesson first if you're good enough.
It does become a, like, in some Mario Kart games, it does become a let's see how far ahead I can get. Baby Park comes to mind.
I love Baby Park.
I can usually lap the entire rest of the racers in Baby Kart if I'm doing well enough on
Yeah.
a good day. Especially in 8 where it's a lot less chaotic. So the less items is better. The added anti-grav to that track makes that also worse. It doesn't quite negate it out. I think Mario Kart 8's Baby Park is a lot easier still than GameCube, but maybe not a lot. Just decently easier. But yeah, Colin, what's your last thing?
Well, if you've been following along, I kind of hinted at it all the way back at the beginning. And if you've been following along with my choices so far, then there is only one logical place I could end up. Because, see, my first pick was a gun. My second pick was a sword. My third pick is a gun that's also a sword. Because I'm speaking of the Gunblade from specifically Final Fantasy VIII, but they've used them all across the series since.
Of course.
Yeah. The Squall's iconic revolver with a giant sword blade that completely defies physics. Yeah. How does it shoot? I don't know. I don't care. It's cool. It's a freaking gun with a sword attached to it. I don't care how it works. It just looks cool.
Quite frankly, that Gunblade is so iconic, it's what made me want to try out Gunblades in Phantasy Star Zero.
It's such a cool freaking weapon. And I like the way that they use it mechanically in Final Fantasy VIII as well, because it made the battle system feel a lot more active, even if it was just like one additional button press type thing. But the way it worked in Final Fantasy VIII was Gunblade wielders like Squall or Cypher, when you have Cypher in your party, if you press the R1 button at the exact moment where your strike makes contact with the enemy, you actually deal additional damage to them as well. So it's really cool because, like, you hit them with the sword and then you pull the trigger and shoot them as you're slashing them. And it defies physics, but who cares? Because it looks cool.
Yep.
That was just one of the things about Final Fantasy VIII that I just fell in love with immediately when I got the game back in the day. Like, just everything about Squall was just so cool to me. His freaking outfit, his hair, his scar, his freaking sword that's a freaking gun, or his freaking gun that's a freaking sword. I don't know. It's a gunblade. It's freaking awesome. And
It always kind of struck me as cooler than Cloud.
Yep.
Podcast.
I mean, I definitely like Squall more than Cloud. personal preference. But what I really also really like his ultimate gunblade, which is called the Lionheart, because it's got this like really cool like futuristic gun handle to it with like a wing coming off of the hilt, and then the blade is like also like, I don't know if it's like light or if it's like a crystal type blade or diamond blade or something, but it's like this really, really bright blue sword blade to the gun, and it's really cool. And then also during all of Squall's limit breaks, they all take advantage of like the pressing R1 to pull the trigger type mechanic, because that's all how they all operate and stuff. It's really cool. But they also, in one of the Final Fantasy 14 expansions, I forget which one it was because I haven't played a lot of 14 beyond A Realm Reborn, but they added a tank class to Final Fantasy 14 called the Gunbreaker, and their weapons are gun blades. So it's like that made me really, really want to be a Gunbreaker class in the game, but I'm already a tank as it is, as a paladin, so I didn't want to like have 2 tank classes on my character. And I've also heard that the Gunbreaker is kind of a difficult class to play effectively, so I was like, maybe not. Maybe if I ever like super dive into Final Fantasy 14 and get like actually good at it, maybe I'll try a Gunbreaker. But a paladin is challenging enough for me right now, being a tank. Like tank responsibilities and MMOs it's probably it's not like the most important role, because they're all pretty equally important, but it's kind of the most important role, because you're the one that's supposed to be going in and making sure that you are the center of attention at all times. And if enemies kind of break away from aggroing you to aggroing one of the DPS or the healers, then you're not doing a very good job, and you had to like constantly manage that. It's crazy. Which is why I wish I would have chosen the DPS class instead of a tank when I started this character. But I'm already at like level 55 or something, so I might as well stick with it at this point. Just get good.
Just start a new account with a burner email.
I mean, I can go and reclass anytime I want, but then I'm gonna have to start at level 1 with that class. So I had to grind up everything again, which they've done a lot over the years to make it easier to do that, but it's still a lot of time invested where I could just be continuing the story with the class I have already at the appropriate level.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me so long to finish A Realm Reborn to begin with. It's like I just want to go into the next stuff. I want to see what I haven't seen yet, because it started getting really good toward the end of A Realm Reborn. Now I'm kind of in the middle between ARR and Heavensward, and Heavensward is where things get like super freaking sweet. So it's like I just need to find more time to play 14. Anyway, the Gunblade, it's awesome. I love it. It's like I mentioned before, like some of these weren't really in any specific order as far as like my favorites go, because there's just so many, but the Gunblade is absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, my absolute most favorite weapon from a video game. And like specifically the one, like Squall's starting one, the revolver Gunblade at the beginning of Final Fantasy VIII, just because that's like the iconic Gunblade image. I freaking love that gun. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like blew my mind when I was like 13 and I played Final Fantasy VIII for the first time, and I was like, wait, this gun is also a sword. That's freaking awesome. But anyway, let's move to our next segment now, which is our weekly link to the past. And I didn't really see anything exciting for the date of recording, but I did see something for the date this episode goes live on the 4th of July, which may be a holiday in some countries.
Yep.
It's really ironic that our weapons episode has ended up coming out on July 4th.
America.
It's very America. I didn't realize that until you just said it, but yeah. Yeah, the episode's a week late, but technical difficulties. But we made it happen.
Guns of the Patriots.
Metal Gear. Anyway, 11 years ago today, as of the day this episode is going live, on July 4, 2012, we got a game in Japan that would wait 8 more years to come over here for the rest of us to play. Phantasy Star Online 2, released 11 years ago.
Yep.
I won't say it wasn't worth waiting for to finally be able to play it when it came here finally in 2020, but it's not as good as the first one. I'm glad we finally got it, but it's not as good as the first one.
Me too. It's not.
I struggled to care about the story in that game, mainly because of how disjointed the storytelling was.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Episodes 1, 2, and 3 are good, and then it falls apart because episodes 4, 5, and 6 are all standalone, unrelated episodes.
Yeah, I just found it hard to really get into it just based on how it was presented also, because it was basically like you go off to a completely separate area to watch a cutscene of a few people standing in the room talking to each other. Then you have to go all the way over to this counter to queue up for the mission that relates to that story beat. It just felt so disconnected to me that after a while I just stopped caring. The overall gameplay was fun enough, but just like trying to care about the story was like I just started skipping through those cutscenes so I could just get to the next mission, which is not something I typically do in story-based games.
Yeah. And like Phantasy Star Online 1 did tell its story through story-based quests, but none of them were ever like you enter the quest and it's just a bunch of text boxes like it was in PSO2. Even just like the single player campaign story, it's like you're still playing through the levels of this game and you're finding well, depending on which episode you're playing, either Red Ring Rico's like diary capsules that she's leaving behind with like her observations of what happened during the events of episode 1, or you're reading like Heathcliff Flowen's like journal as you find it on Raggle in the central control area, or Dr. Osto's seabed laboratory. But like you're never just like delivered walls of text, and that's the extent of the quest.
Have you tried New Genesis?
I haven't.
I've been meaning to, but yeah, it's just never really got around to it.
It's really hard to bring myself to want to play it after however many years. I was very excited for PSO2, and then the long wait for it to actually get over to North America. And it didn't help that even when it was still a Japanese exclusive game, like the fan community developed PSO2 Tweaker, which allowed, to some degree, for us non-Japanese folks to be able to play PSO2. And then Sega started blocking non-Japanese IP addresses to the servers.
Thanks, Sega.
So
all we wanted to do is play
for
your
the
game.
longest time. Yeah, for the longest time, they didn't want anyone besides the initial target audience to play this game. And it wasn't until Microsoft decided to pay themselves to have the game localized for North America to bring it over here.
I will say, though, I paid the $60 to dress my character up as Sonic in this free-to-play game. It was worth it.
Honestly, if I ever revisit it, I probably will pick up the Origins pack so that I can have the classic Q Neural outfit for my character and actually like re-experience playing PSO2 as my OG PSO1 character.
I will say it was fun. There was a character class that dealt with speed mechanics and attacked with its feet and stuff. I was like, oh, perfect to dress up as Sonic. So I did. It was worth it.
The bouncer
Yeah,
class
it was
neat.
worth the $60, even though
Honestly, the Braver class was really what kept me going for most of the time in that game. That's what I decided my main class was going to be, and it was really cool using katanas and doing like fast damage.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, that is going to conclude episode 29. So, Lucas, where can they find you outside the podcast?
Well, I have a link tree with all sorts of fun stuff. It's linktr.ee/karn_evil_999, just like the Twitter handle. It itself has a link to our Discord.
Yeah.
Links to follow me on Twitter. I just recently added my Steam account. If you, for some reason, want to friend me on Steam, you might get bombarded with 3D Mark notifications. I did just get a new old graphics card.
Don't do it.
log.
It's a trap.
And then, of course, like links directing you to past episodes of the podcast to listen to, and the That One Game long play channel that I run, which features videos of all of the games that we talk about for our That One Game series. So again, that is linktr.ee/karn_evil_999.
All right. What about Neal?
You can also find me in the trees. My link is similar. Linktree, a dot between the R and the two E's, /VMK89. I've got links to my Twitch channel where I stream Minecraft every Monday.
I'm sure all of those mobs that you summoned to one point on the map to then unceremoniously kill themselves off, I'm sure they were screaming.
They were screaming. And Crystal screamed when it happened because everything teleported to her. But yeah, so you can check that out. I've got links to the podcast and our Discord now on there. You can follow me at Twitter at IamVMK9. And also there's a link to my old YouTube, which is kind of a relic at the moment. Someday it'll come back, I promise. I'll be on my deathbed posting YouTube videos. I have to do this before I die. But anyway, that is all for me. Colin, where can they find you? Wait, shoot.
What? Huh? What?
Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, as for myself, I don't have a link tree because I am an old man yelling at clouds. So you can find me the old-fashioned way on Twitter at Delicious Morsel or on YouTube at youtube.com/Delicious Morsels. You can also find links to my music profiles on Spotify and Apple Music in the description below, where all of my music from That One Game episodes can be found. Still having some issues trying to figure out how to get the Super Mario World music up there for some reason. It may or may not ever arrive on streaming platforms. We will see. They're being very picky about it for some reason. But also, I took all of my old cover songs from all across the years, dating all the way back to 2016, and I finally decided to put them up on streaming services. It's only 10 songs. It's not like a whole lot because I have a bad habit of starting and not finishing a lot of songs when it comes to recording music, but it's 10 songs. The title of the collection is Growth, and it should hopefully be live soon. So follow me on Spotify or Apple Music, and you'll get to hear all those songs. There's a little bit of Metallica on there, some Linkin Park. There's some death metal as well, so it's got a good range, and I'm been sitting on the songs for far too long. It's time to put them out there. So that's what I did this past weekend. And I'm looking forward to them actually being out in the world finally at last. They range in quality, but I mean, the entire idea, I put them in order of release. So they're starting my very first one that I did. It's not my very first ever cover song, but the very first one that I have felt proud enough to put out in some capacity, and going to my most recent one. So you can actually listen as you're listening through it, how I've progressed, which was the whole idea. But anyway, you can also find our Discord, the podcast Discord. There's a link in the description below, and I guess those two guys also have links to it in the trees somewhere. But yeah, come hang out with us, join our Discord, and participate in future episodes with our new Hey Listeners segment. It's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to finally interacting with and meeting some more people. So, as always, if you liked what you heard here today on this episode, please be sure to hit the subscribe button where that's an option. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, because I hear they like that stuff, especially if it's a positive 5-star review, because I like those. Yeah. Hit the like button if that's a thing, and feel free to share this episode with a friend. We're actually going to be back next week, barring any more technical difficulties, with another episode. But until then, have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember,
play for the Cows.
Stay for the Bears.